In the summer of 1866, Colonel Henry B. Carrington set out from Fort Laramie to establish a series of forts along the Bozeman Trail with the goal of protecting migrants moving along the trail. The Bozeman Trail ran through the Powder River country, which included the traditional hunting grounds of Lakota, Cheyenne, and Arapaho peoples. Carrington had about 1,000 people in his column, of which about 700 were soldiers and 300 were civilians, likely soldiers' families and migrants. The colonel established Fort Phil Kearny as his headquarters and based 400 troops and most of the civilians there. During the construction of Fort Kearny, which lasted months, Native Americans killed several dozen soldiers and civilians in some 50 separate attacks. The attacks were largely focused on the wood trains, comprised of soldiers and civilians harvesting lumber from the surrounding forest for the construction of the fort. Though younger warriors like Crazy Horse conducted the actual attacks, Red Cloud and other older leaders would help plan and direct the harassment and interdiction campaign against the construction of Fort Kearny. By October 1866, Carrington's officers and men pressured him to go on the offensive and take the fight to the Native Americans. The pressure was increased by the arrival of a company of 63 cavalry troopers led by Lieutenant Horatio S. Bingham in early November. Civil War veterans Captain William J. Fetterman and Captain James W. Powell accompanied the cavalry troopers and were assigned to Fort Kearny as infantry officers. But despite having a distinguished war record, Fetterman had no experience fighting Native Americans. Nevertheless, that lack of experience did not keep Fetterman from criticizing the conservative and defensive posture Carrington had established at Fort Kearny, adding to an already growing chorus of criticism. Fetterman also repeatedly displayed utter contempt for the Native Americans. In late November, Carrington received orders from his commander, General Philip St. George Cooke, to take the offensive against the Native Americans. The first opportunity for offensive action came on December 6th, when pickets reported that a wood train 4 miles from the fort was under attack. The attack was, however, merely a feint, meant to lure troops into a Native American ambush. Carrington ordered Fetterman to take a company of cavalry, bolstered by a squad of mounted infantry, to relieve the wood train. Meanwhile, Carrington would lead a mounted squad to the north to cut off the